The ego's God, little g, the ego made a God in its own image, not the God of all-encompassing love, but a God with a little g, a God who withholds, a God who needs, a God who abandons. This God is not the creator but a caricature. Little g, the echo of guilt projected outward. And little g is petty, conditional, jealous. He keeps score. He punishes. He demands blood. He needs worship like oxygen and only smiles if you kneel. This is the God the ego made, and this is the God the world sells you. Little g is the God of punishment disguised as justice. He gives you suffering and calls it a lesson. He takes your child and calls it a test. He dangles heaven like a carrot and warns of hell with a whip. He lets bad things happen to teach you something. He watches you fall and calls it love. This is not God. This is projection. The split mind painted guilt onto the sky and called it divine. But God is not watching from a distance. God is not waiting to be pleased. God is unchanging, unwithholding, uncondemning, and unlike anything the ego can imagine. To believe in little g is to live in fear. To worship him is to worship guilt. He is the face of the parent who left, the partner who betrayed, the boss who judged, the lover who turned cold. He is a composite sketch of abandonment and disappointment. He is your unconscious shame dressed in a robe. And the altar you bow before is built from unhealed pain. But you don't have to keep worshipping him. You don't have to keep defending him. You don't have to keep saying, God works in mysterious ways, when you mean, I'm afraid to admit I'm angry at God. You are not angry at God. You are angry at little g. And little g is not real. The true God has no opposite. He doesn't punish. He doesn't test. He doesn't make you beg. God doesn't need. God doesn't want. God extends. God creates. God gives forever without the possibility of withholding. There is no sacrifice in God. There is no bargain. You cannot earn what was never unearned. The kingdom is not a prize. It is your inheritance. And your inheritance cannot be lost. Little g plays judge and jury because the ego needs a courtroom. It needs a gavel, a robe, and a long list of offenses to feel alive. It calls this justice, but it is vengeance disguised. The ego cannot stand the thought of innocence, so it paints guilt onto God and says he agrees with me. But God does not agree. God doesn't condemn. God doesn't know fear. God knows only the Son he created. And that Son is not guilty, and never was. Every story you've been told about a God who watches, who weighs, who waits to smite or save, that was little g talking. That was the ego speaking with God's name in its mouth. But God doesn't speak with guilt. God speaks with light, and light knows no darkness. So ask yourself, which God have I been praying to? Which God have I feared? Have I been speaking to little g and wondering why I still feel condemned? Have I been asking for peace from a God who only trades in suffering? The mind that believes in guilt will always hear little g, but the heart that remembers its innocence will hear the voice for God. That voice is still. It is soft. It never condemns. It says, you are still as God created you. It says, nothing real can be threatened. It says, I never left you because you never left me. To unlearn little g is to undo the ego. It is to let go of every image of a God who withholds. It is to throw down the courtroom and walk out of the trial. There is no jury. There is no judge. There is only you, and the love that never stopped embracing you. You do not need to earn it. You do not need to prove yourself. You only need to stop asking little g for crumbs and remember who your Father is. God is not against you. He is not disappointed. He is not waiting for your apology. He is waiting for your acceptance. He is waiting for your yes. He is waiting for your return to sanity. He is waiting for you to stop punishing yourself and calling it love. Little g is a shadow puppet. God is the light that never left.